So there is a little girl who was brought to me called Happiness, and Happiness, her father died in a car crash like 2 years ago now, and Happiness is only 11. Her mother tried to raise Happiness, but she was struggling with grief, and you know, there's no support here. You know, if you're already battling poverty, you're already battling with grief, and mental health problems are rife, and there's not even acknowledged, there's no mental health services. It just doesn't exist. You're crazy or you're not. This is how it goes. Psychology is needed here more than anywhere else in the world, because everyone's traumatized in some which way, shape or form that I work with. And the mother subsequently abandoned her daughter. And in abandoning her daughter, their clan, which is the group of extended family, get together and have a discussion on what to do with the children. And the clan decided that the eldest brother of the deceased father should be the one that raises the child, because he was the youngest and most able-bodied. He didn't decide this for himself, and he too was living in quite a bit of poverty, and he was struggling with alcohol, and the clan hadn't took note of this when they made this decision, and he became abusive towards her. So much so that her whole body, top half of her body down here and her back, is quite severely scarred from repetitive scoldings, where he would throw hot water on her or hot food if it didn't taste nice, or if something went wrong, because she was supposed to be looking after him, because this is this ridiculous, weak-minded cultural little thing that he had going on. Not all men are like that here, but some. And he harmed her a lot, he abused her a lot. And in amongst all of that abuse, as well as being scolded, he managed to fracture her hip. And for an 11-year-old, she now needs a prosthetic leg, because her leg is twisted and facing in the wrong direction. Because after he broke her hip, during this abuse, he didn't take her to hospital because he couldn't afford it. So her leg has repaired in a terrible way, and they need a prosthetic leg to straighten it up in an operation to remove what is left inside the shards of bone. She's 11, and she's with her elderly grandmother now. The grandmother took her, and they are struggling. They live in deep poverty. They don't eat properly, and she's in pain constantly, and she can't afford painkillers. How do I say no to a child like that? How would any human being like to have to say no to a child like that? Welcome to my world. Go to bed fulfilled knowing the children I've held, but I also go to bed with a lot of pain knowing that I'm leaving a child in pain, physical pain, because I haven't managed to bring in enough resources to help them this week or this month. I haven't managed to make a video that's been seen by enough people. I haven't managed to get the energy or the mental space to even write a fundraising page for her for the last few days or few weeks because I've been ill, or post her on Facebook. Many people say they would love to do what I do, but I can assure you, you don't want to. I make you that guarantee. You don't want to have to make these decisions every day. I don't want to make them. So why would anyone else want to? But God never gives us more than we can handle. And I'm not about to sit here with my violin on my shoulder saying poor John, because even making tough decisions, I'm still way more comfortable than Happiness, for example, that little girl. She's lost her father, her mother's abandoned her, her uncle was supposed to love her and tortured her. Now she's permanently, physically disabled in a way. All in the space of a few years, triggered by a car accident. So, I I need to do a fundraiser for her and her grandmother. First of all, they need 6 months worth of support for food, and transport to and fro the hospital for the physio and so on and so forth. Then they need initially 750,000 Tanzanian shillings, which is about £300 for the first operation. Then they have to have the prosthetic leg made, which I get a discount on because I get so many for our children, but it's only a small discount because there are only a few people here in Tanzania make them. So in total, I need around about £300 for 6 months to support them, £300 for the first operation, and around about £500 for the prosthetic leg. That'll include the ongoing care. You have to remember that you don't get ongoing care here if you don't afford it. So I want to ensure they have enough for the ongoing care for a while for that leg, until, I don't know, circumstances shift for them. And I'll give you an example. Many of you saw Emmanuel, who I found, God put in my path in the wheelchair, the gentleman who we've been treating at the hospital. He'd had a catheter put in after a car accident, and because he didn't have money to carry on the treatment, they'd left it, and the catheter was infected and leaking, and he was plugging his own body with chewing gum. And the hospital knew, but they wouldn't treat him without the money. So you need to get the money for the aftercare, and that's why we have to do that. So I think that's around about $1,500, £1,000, £1,100. So I'll be doing a fundraiser, and there'll be a fundraising page for them, because I'm tired of saying no to this girl, and I'm tired of my staff asking if anything has came through yet. So yeah. And back to what I was saying before, I might do a few changes in the channel, and I'll see how that goes. I just don't know how to do it. Fritzy might record some of the videos for me with the children who need a sponsor and such. We'll see. We'll see what I decide. God bless, guys. Bye.
Whispers and rumours of a village that's grown with love as its welcome when death's at its door, sees the richness of sharing with the sick